Hello, and welcome to Random Access, PC Mag's daily show on Facebook, where we show you one cool thing which we have just reviewed or are reviewing in the PC Mag Labs. I am Sasha Segan, this is Tom Brandt, and today here on Random Access, of course, we have a really cool, really thin new laptop. We also, of course, have Social Pete over on the con taking your questions and comments. And if you have questions about any products that PC Mag is reviewing or might review, or a product that you're just curious about, ask us. Maybe we'll know something. If we don't, we know someone who will know something. But for now, we want to show you this hot, new, teeny tiny laptop. Can I close this thing?
Close it.
Okay. What we have here is, what do we have here?
So this is the updated 12-inch MacBook, which is, and then right here we have its larger 13-inch sibling. And as you can see, the main difference, obviously, is that this thing is extremely thin and extremely light.
So it is super thin, it is super light. How much does this weigh? It feels like a tablet, frankly.
Right. So this is, near as makes no difference, 2 pounds.
Okay.
Which is extremely thin and light. There are a few Windows machines that go slightly below that. We're talking like a few ounces below that. And then compared to this, which is about 3 pounds.
Okay. And so now this is the MacBook that just came out.
Yes, in June.
In June. What are the differences between this and the 2016 MacBook?
So there really isn't any physical difference when you pick it up and look at it. There's still the 12-inch Retina display and the keyboard, which is very polarizing. Some people like it, some people hate it. The keyboard has slightly redesigned switches. So basically what you get is an extremely thin key travel. And the sounds similar to what you might expect when you're typing on your iPhone. So it's like, you know, that clicky sound. That's kind of the sensation that you get from these keyboards.
Yeah, and it feels a little bit better to me than the 2016 MacBook keyboard, although it is definitely flat. It's definitely still a very flat keyboard.
Right.
And so now, what's inside? There's been a processor upgrade, right?
There has, yeah. So they've switched to the latest generation of the Intel processors, the seventh generation Kaby Lake processors. This one right here is the 1299 version, which is the base model, and it has a Core M3. And the cool thing about the Core M3 is not that it's very powerful, it's that it's very thermally efficient, which means they don't need a fan, so it's going to be extremely, there's not going to be any heat or fan noise from the computer.
Now, I'm super concerned about performance on these Core M's as opposed to Core I's. I mean, of course, I like performance. I do a lot of, you know, spreadsheets and SQL and all that business workflow. How does the Core M benchmark? What can the Core M3 do? Okay,
so you're not going to be able to play games. But you are, like on the benchmark tests, which we do some simulations of a video encoding or general productivity tests. This comes about in the middle of the road when it comes to like ultra portable laptops. It's going to be fine for most spreadsheet types of things, but you're not going to want to play intensive games on it. What
about like there's a lot of people in the creative trades who use Macs. What about anything like photo or video work?
So I will say, yeah, video encoding, probably not as good with a Core M3. You can actually step up to a Core i5 or i7 processor with this thing. That's actually new for this 2017 refresh. Problem is, if you do that, this is thermally constrained because there's no fan, so you're going to have take a battery life hit.
Okay, it looks like we have some questions out there.
Is this meant to replace the MacBook Air line?
That is a great question, and I would love to know the answer from Apple, because the MacBook Air in June was not updated as much as this was, and for all intents and purposes, it looks like they're going to phase the MacBook Air out. We don't know for sure, but I would say that this is the thinnest and lightest Apple portable that you can buy. So yeah, conceivably it's a MacBook Air replacement.
Can I go into a little bit of my conspiracy theory here? I'm going to
Please do. We don't know for sure.
Yeah,
so
a little bit of a conspiracy theory here, which is, so why doesn't Apple talk about where they're trying to transition the MacBook Air market or MacBook Air customers to? That's because there's a strong faction within Apple that believes that the iPad Pro 10.5 should be the successor to the MacBook Air. And that is, of course, an extremely divisive perspective. But the MacBook Air played two roles. It is thin and light, but it also became very much the entry-level or less expensive laptop, especially to hit that really key $1,000 price point. That's really important in the laptop market. And this guy here, now this starts at $1,300, right?
Correct.
And so there's something a little more premium about it. And when Apple, within Apple, talks about, what do we have to satisfy that $800 to $1,000 consumer, they start talking about using an iPad Pro as a laptop, which I know is super divisive, but that's Apple's philosophy. Looks like we have another question.
Are there touch bars on these?
So neither of these laptops that we have here have touch bars. The 12-inch obviously doesn't. There's not enough room to move the keyboard down to put a touch bar in. And this one doesn't either. We have here the base version of the 13-inch MacBook and the 13-inch with the touch bar. The touch bar would go right here. It's personal preference whether or not you want a touch bar. I think you kind of have to make the decision for yourself. I personally don't see any added value unless you're really doing like video editing where you're going to have an improved workflow with scrubbing or something like that. But that's pretty much the touch bar.
Now let's talk a little about dongle life.
Oh yes, right. Check this out.
We have so the this 12-inch MacBook here, you may notice, has only 2 ports on the whole thing. And one of them is a headphone jack, ironically, because those are gone from the iPhones. And then the other one is a USB-C port. And this single USB-C port has to be used for everything. For power, for I/O, for everything. One USB-C port. So what do you do with your life?
Well, one option is you're a MacBook user who doesn't have anything they need to plug in, which some people, that's fine. For most other people, you will have to buy an adapter. And we have 2 just sample adapters here. Apple makes their own. This one is basically a USB-C adapter that comes with, that converts into 3 USB-A regular style connectors.
Yeah, and this is from a company called Aoki, which makes a lot of decent quality, very reasonably priced dongles that they sell on Amazon. A lot of them are between like $25 and $40, and they give you a whole bunch of ports. Sometimes there's an SD card reader, sometimes there's an Ethernet port, sometimes there isn't, based on the kinds of ports you need. And then over here we have a full desktop USB-C dock from CalDigit, and there's a bunch of these docks out there too, and these obviously aren't made to travel with you, but they have a much wider range of ports.
Right.
So I kind of feel like if you're buying this laptop, you need to think through what you need to connect to it and kind of get the right dongles at that time.
Don't look at this as a $1,300 laptop. Look at this as a $1,300 laptop plus $50 to $100 for adapters.
Right. So it looks like we have some more questions.
You had mentioned a little bit about gaming earlier. Can it run Minecraft? Do you think that would be?
Anything can run Minecraft, okay? My daughter's 4-year-old Android phone can run Minecraft. Okay, Raspberry Pis can run Minecraft. This is like the new joke, right? Like, can it run Doom? You can run Doom on a touch bar. Okay, you can run Minecraft. I could probably run Minecraft on my Tizen smartwatch right now. There are versions of Minecraft for anything down to like a 4-qubit quantum computer. I don't know.
But the interesting thing is, though, is that, and so not just Minecraft, if you are willing to dial down the quality and graphic settings of any game, you'll probably get it to run on this. The question is, would you want to?
Right.
But for Minecraft, specifically games of that resource taxing, you'll be fine.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's just not that intense a game. But okay, so the big plus here, though, is battery life, right? The battery life is terrific.
So the interesting thing about battery life, with the new processors and presumably some other internal improvements, they've managed to eke out an additional 5 hours of battery life from the 2016 MacBook to the 2017 MacBook. Obviously, that's great if you're going to be one of those people who are going to use it without an adapter, because then you can plug in and out stuff all day long and not have to worry about charging it. So, however, it didn't quite beat the Microsoft Surface laptop battery life, which is one of the longest we've tested recently. That's almost 17 hours, 16 hours and 44 minutes. This one, I think, came in, I don't have the exact figure, but around 15,
15
I believe.
plus,
15,
yeah. Looks like we have another question.
Is this the best choice for students, or should they stick with the MacBook Pro?
So, yeah, so, I mean, again, $1,300 for both of these.
Yeah, I mean, that's what strikes me is that these are both the same price. What's up with that? These are both the same price, but this has a Core i, right?
This has a Core i5.
So we have a Core i5 versus Core M3.
Right.
We have two USB-C ports versus one.
Right.
Okay, we have another inch of screen size.
And you also get both the screens are great. This screen is better. It has a wider color gamut for people who are creative professionals who are doing video editing. You know, students might need that too. So.
Okay. So better processor, more ports, better screen, also a Mac. So it's not like you're having to go over to Windows. Same price.
Right.
What's going on here? Why would you buy the little one?
It's a bit of a mystery.
Okay. Okay, so it's really people who are just like fanatical about the lightest laptop possible.
Yeah, and we were playing with this before the show. It really is thin and light. I mean, you're going to notice the pound difference, and you're also going to notice the thinness. I mean, both of these are thinner than the MacBook Air, I should say. But this one actually goes from, you know, it's a wedge-shaped design like the MacBook Air. So this thing, like, it's really thin, and if that impresses you, then go for it.
Okay, looks like we have some more questions.
Do you know why Apple removed the MagSafe?
Do you? I don't.
No, why? Like
what they're talking about is basically the MagSafe power adapter used to it was magnetic power adapter.
No, the reason Apple removed it is because they were trying to go to one port on the device, and that would be an additional port. And you have to understand, and this is something I've been fighting about and talking about for years in my columns, in my reviews, Apple's obsession, Johnny Ive's obsession with making things thinner and reducing ports, almost at all costs, almost at the cost of functionality. Okay, so they removed the MagSafe because USB-C carries enough power to carry power, and it means they can remove a port. And at Apple, removing ports is the highest good. And you can see I don't agree with this choice, but it's relatively consistent in their product line. Looks like we have another question.
Okay. How does it run Adobe software like Photoshop or Illustrator?
Yeah, so you can check out the review, which was just published this morning for the actual the benchmarks. We do have a Photoshop-specific benchmark where we go through and run a bunch of sample imaging tests, or image manipulation tests. So you can check that out in the full review at PCMag.com. You will have to wait a little bit longer if you're doing some intense filters or something like that, but in general, it should be fine.
Or you could just buy this one
just
for
buy
the
this
same
one.
price.
I do want to note, however, that there are two there are two Windows computers that are comparable to this. The MacBook X, which is brand new, we actually haven't reviewed it yet. It looks the exact same, and it has two USB. And then we have the other one, the ZenBook 3, which is similar but only has one USB.
And isn't the ZenBook 3 gold? The Asus ZenBooks tend to be gold.
I think
right?
you can. Well, so you can order this in gold too.
Oh, you can get that one in gold
too. Yeah, so this one has both. Yeah.
Okay. Looks like we have another question.
Has Apple said anything about having OLED screens on MacBooks?
Not as far as I know. These are basically, they just call them Retina displays. They are IPS displays, so they have wide viewing angle. But as far as I know, there's nothing about it.
There is a massive global OLED shortage right now, and that may be why Apple has not talked about putting OLED screens on MacBooks. There's basically Samsung and LG, which make the OLEDs, get first crack at the OLEDs. LG is largely using them for TVs. Samsung is using them across their product lines. But there's far more demand for OLEDs than there is factory capacity for OLEDs at the moment. That's going to change over the next 2 years as more OLED factories come online. But there's a problem going on where Apple basically could not put OLEDs into its laptops even if they wanted to, because the OLEDs don't exist. And that's why Apple's not talking about OLED laptops right now. Do we have any more questions out there?
Someone's asking, can I upgrade my MacBook Pro 2015 to this new one? Like, is it worth it, I guess, is what he's saying?
Yeah, right. So from a 2015, I mean, if you tend to keep your laptops for 2 years or so. I would not. Well, I certainly would not upgrade a MacBook Pro to a MacBook.
No.
It depends on, if you're upgrading a MacBook Pro, this from 2015, it's completely redesigned. That's a subject for another discussion.
Yeah.
But short answer is do not upgrade to the MacBook from a MacBook Pro.
Okay, I would just say that I recently, as late as last month, went and bought a 2015 MacBook Pro. And that's because I personally didn't see the increase in performance between that and Kaby Lake to be so great, and I like the 2015 MacBook Pro's keyboard a lot more. And so if you're going to, if you're considering upgrading from 2015 MacBook Pro to essentially 2017 MacBook Pro, definitely look at the comparative benchmarks, because I can't really speak to those. But you do have to ask yourself that keyboard question.
Yeah, and ultimately a processor generation upgrade is only one thing to consider. Don't look at a processor upgrade as this is something that, it's always going to be a processor upgrade. Look at the whole picture, battery life, things like that, and that's really...
Yeah, but I would also say, Apple laptops tend to keep... Apple laptops tend to maintain their performance and maintain their OS compatibility for at least 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So if, I don't really see a reason to upgrade a 2-year-old Apple laptop. They're generally really good performing. Yeah. Okay, so if we have no more questions out there, thank you very much, folks. The review for this new Apple MacBook 2017 is up on PCMag.com. We gave it 3.5 stars. It is good, but not great. We do prefer the MacBook Pro line at the same price. Tomorrow, we will be back at 10 a.m. with another great thing from the labs. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.